Hi, friends. You are watching Global Crossroads, and I am Dr. Jaynarayan Vyas. Friends, we are going to talk today about Iran USA peace accord. How strong, how brittle. You can see in this montage missile launchers over the Middle East, burning oil facilities, warships in the Persian Gulf, crowds in Tehran, Tel Aviv, Washington, oil tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz, world's stock market screens flashing red and green, Trump addressing media, Iranian leaders in meeting, Swiss diplomatic venue for signing the accord. All are jumbled together, but the scene that dominates is the war. And the war, fortunately, has taken a little bit of a pause. I won't say it has stopped. It has taken a little bit of pause. For months, the world stood on the edge. One wrong decision, one missile, one miscalculation, and the Middle East could have exploded into a regional war with global consequences. Oil prices surged, shipping routes trembled, financial markets panicked, nations prepared for the worst. Then suddenly, the guns began to fall silent. The ceasefire was announced, and now American and Iranian negotiators are heading to Switzerland, a place where enemies have often met when war became too costly and peace became unavoidable. But is this really a peace or merely an intermission before the next act of conflict? Today, we examine one of the most consequential diplomatic developments of our time, the Iran USA peace accord. How strong is it and how brittle it is? Historical footage, if we look at, it indicates a different narration. The roots of today's crisis stretch back nearly half a century. Since the Iranian Revolution of 1979, relations between Washington and Tehran have been marked by distrust, hostility, sanctions, covert operations, and proxy conflicts. Every American administration has struggled with Iran. Every Iranian leadership has viewed America with suspicion. Then came the nuclear issue. The United States feared Iran was moving towards nuclear weapons capability. Iran insisted its program was peaceful. Years of negotiations followed. Agreements were signed, agreements were abandoned. Sanctions intensified, regional rivalries deepened, and eventually, friends, the confrontation spread beyond diplomacy. The Middle East became a chessboard where every move carried global consequences. The latest conflict pushed both sides dangerously close to direct military confrontation. Yet neither side truly wanted a full scale war. The costs were simply enormous. The costs were simply too high. To understand why this crisis matters, one must understand geography. At the center lies the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway but one of the most important choke points on the earth. Nearly one-fifth of the world's oil passes through this route. Any disruption here affects everyone, not just Iran, not just America, not just Israel, everyone. Europe depends on energy security, China depends on energy security. India depends on energy security. Japan depends on energy security. If Hormuz closes, oil prices can go skyrocketing and they can explode overnight. Inflation rises. Economic growth slows down. Political instability follows. This is why every missile fired in the Gulf sends shockwaves through global markets. The conflict was never merely regional, it was global from the very beginning. And the consequences were also accordingly felt globally. Then came the breakthrough when everybody was sort of worried where the war is going to take this world. Some predicted a huge energy crisis. Some predicted $150 per barrel. Some predicted $200. Then a high rise. Then came a breakthrough. After months of tension and indirect communication through intermediaries, both sides began exploring a diplomatic exit. A ceasefire emerged, not a peace treaty, not a final settlement, but a pause, a crucial pause. American envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi agreed to meet in Switzerland. For the first time in months, diplomacy replaced missiles. Markets responded positively. Oil prices stabilized and came at times closer to $100 per barrel or even below. Shipping companies regained confidence. Governments around the world welcomed the development, and yet diplomats know something the public often forgets. A ceasefire is not a peace. It is merely an opportunity to create peace, and opportunities can be wasted. So, would Iran and America from here on convert the ceasefire, which is an opportunity to knock at the door of peace and enter the premises, or waste the opportunity? Only time will tell. No discussion about Iran can ignore Israel. For decades, Israel has viewed Iran as its greatest strategic threat. Iran's missile program, Iran's regional alliances, Iran's support for groups hostile to Israel all contributes to Israeli concerns. Even after the ceasefire, Israeli strikes continued in certain areas, especially Lebanon. This raises a critical question. Does Israel trust the agreement, or does it believe diplomacy may allow Iran to regain strength? Israel's calculations differ from that of Washington's. While America seeks regional stability, Israel prioritizes immediate security. These differing priorities could become one of the biggest challenges facing the peace process. Because a single military incident can derail months of diplomatic work, the ceasefire and the way ahead to peace appears to be fragile. President Donald Trump faces a delicate balancing act. He wants peace, but he also wants leverage. He wants stability, but without appearing weak. His supporters expect strength. His critics demand diplomacy. The administration believes Iran has come to the negotiating table because pressures worked. Iran believes America has accepted that military solutions have limits, and therefore they have returned to the negotiating table. Both sides are claiming victory. which where it belongs, nobody knows, because it's simply, as of now, when I'm just talking to you, it's a ceasefire. And ceasefire can end anytime. Peace could be sacrificed at the altar of war and the aggression. Israel doesn't want a solution, perhaps. Israel wants war. Maybe there are reasons for that. But there are also compelling reasons that Netanyahu faces election in October end, and in November this year, midterm elections in US also can deprive or can snatch away this slender majority that Trump enjoys today. For both, the political outcome through the elections is important. Netanyahu is in difficulty. He has been convicted by the court, only the punishment is not pronounced. Now, further blow has been delivered. His Likud party will face a stiff challenge from two former prime ministers who have come together and form another party called Together. Arabs would always, from outside, 7 or 8 members of Arab community who get elected to Israel's parliament will support Together. So Netanyahu today is facing a threat from both the directions. The possibility of putting him behind the bar, pronouncing conviction, and with that, the punishment, or the defeat at the elections. So he somehow wants to see that the October elections are pushed beyond October in the name of emergency, because the country is busy on the war front. Trump cannot afford this, because Trump will have adverse impact of ongoing war with Iran if he is not able to hatch a ceasefire. So let's see what happens. Trump speeches, campaign rallies, White House footage, international summits. If you look at, President Donald Trump faces a delicate balancing act. He wants peace, but he also wants leverage. He wants stability, but without appearing weak. His supporters expect strength. His critics demand diplomacy. The administration believes Iran has come to the negotiating table because pressures work. In this scenario, the challenge now is transforming a temporary arrangement of ceasefire into a durable framework. History shows that is much harder than announcing a ceasefire. Coming to terms and then converting ceasefire into a peace agreement is not going to be that easy. It's going to be much harder than announcing this ceasefire. Iran's priorities are equally clear. Its economy has suffered under sanctions. Investment has slowed. Inflation has hurt ordinary citizens. The leadership wants economic breathing space. It wants sanctions relief. It wants access to markets. It wants recognition of its regional influence, but it also wants to maintain national dignity and strategic independence. That balancing act may prove just as difficult as America's. So it is neither easy for Iran nor for America, and perhaps Israel is the last in this trio to think about a lasting peace. For India, the outcome matters enormously. India imports significant amount of energy. Almost 80% of 80% of the energy that the country needs is imported, and almost 45% of that passes through the Hormuz Strait. Stable oil prices support economic growth. Lower energy costs help industry. Lower energy costs help consumers. A peaceful Gulf region strengthens India's energy security. Projects like Chabar port could also benefit from reduced tensions if they could be revived. For India, peace in the Middle East is not merely a diplomatic issue, it is an economic necessity. So, in that kind of a scenario, when we look for further, the world has witnessed countless ceasefires. Some became peace, others became merely pause between the wars. Today, the United States and Iran stand at crossroads. Friends, one path leads towards stability, the other towards renewed confrontation. The negotiations in Switzerland may not solve every problem, but they offer something increasingly rare in modern geopolitics, a chance, a chance to replace conflict with dialogue, a chance to replace fear with predictability, a chance to prove that diplomacy still matters. The question is not whether peace is possible. The question is whether the leaders involved possess the courage, patience, and vision necessary to sustain it. The future of the Middle East may depend on the answer. Thank you, friends, for watching. This is Dr. Jaynarayan Vyas. Stay informed, understand today, decide better, shape tomorrow, be with Global Crossroads, be with us, and patronize us by subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you any money. We have no charges. You can subscribe free of cost and press the bell icon so that any new edition is posted immediately, you come to know about it. So we'll keep talking to you, friends. Hopefully, in the near future, some development taking place which brings America override the interests of Israel and talking sense, and Iran also sees peace as the solution rather than the war. Perhaps the world will be a better place to live. Thank you very much. This is your friend Dr. Jaynarayan Vyas returning you to the studio. Thank you.